Tom Martin tonight in Portage, Indiana, Mud Patrol, number 1.
I'm here to see Bigfoot. Bigfoot! Bigfoot! Bigfoot. I don't know.
We're here to see Bigfoot, and I hope Bigfoot wins.
Finals of the Camel Mud and Monster Series, and I hope Bigfoot wins.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Rosemont Horizon in Chicago, Illinois for the 7th annual U.S. Hot Rod Association Camel Mud Racing and Monster Truck National Points Final. I'm Brett Kevner, and along with Jerry Devine, we'll be bringing you the action from what Jerry is basically turning out to be a war. We've already seen the super modified mud title wrapped up, but it's the monster truck battle that's going to go down to the wire.
You can better believe that. There's only 4 points separating Jack WILLMAN and Fred SCHAFER. We talked to them a little bit earlier, and let me tell you, they're just about at each other's throats.
That's true. With BEARFOOT and TAURUS going at it neck and neck here, the final event of the year is the one that's going to determine the championship, and earlier Jerry had a very interesting conversation with the 2 drivers involved.
We're with the 2 fellas that have been chasing each other all over the country the entire season, door handle to door handle, fender to fender, and tonight it's worth $50,000. Fred SCHAFER with BEARFOOT. Fred, you're 4 points away from winning tonight over Jack WILLMAN. How's it going to go?
Tonight I've been waiting for about a year now. And it's all going to come down to tonight. We're going to try and put Jack on the trailer early.
You really want at him, don't you?
I want him. I've been waiting a year for this.
Well, Jack, how about it? You going to let him have it?
Well, I think if he wants it so bad, why should we even qualify? Let's just match up the first round right off the bat and don't even worry about the qualifying, and we'll see who puts who on the trailer.
Hey, I took this lead over with 11-point winning streak. 11 wins in a row. And I'm going to show him tonight what BEARFOOT's made out of.
How about it, Ford?
Half of them 11 wins where he had to run 3 trucks in a race, and there wasn't none of them competitors for him. But I sure in the heck wasn't there.
He was at 5 of those races. He don't remember that.
It's going to be intense. We're going to find out on the track in just a few moments.
Rosemont Horizon in Chicago. We're just about ready to start qualifying of the monster truck.
Jerry, Rob Morris out of Fort Worth, Texas, in the 4-wheel Crazy Ford will be first man up on this very unusual circular course.
You're right, Brett. Now watch these turns. These drivers have got to really manipulate the steering of both the front wheels and the rear wheels.
It's a brand new type of course that's never been tried before, and it actually means, Jerry, they have to take, look at this, up on 2 wheels. They actually have to take one hand off the steering wheel to operate the toggle switch to steer the rear. You can see going around the turns that it is easy to get up on 2 wheels because these hard left-hand turns are so tight. Rob Morris with an elapsed time of 17.65 seconds will set the pace, Jerry. But here's the man who is shooting for a world championship, Fred SCHAFER and BEARFOOT.
And Fred is ready to go. Let's watch him now. This truck really launches. Look at this. Fred SCHAFER just flipping that last car.
Man, that was a rough landing. He's getting thrown around in there. Now full throttle again over the second set on the back straight. He's getting a little more conservative now. Whoa!
Whoa.
I thought he was.
One more time. Up, up, and over. He clears them all.
That's incredible. With only about 50 feet of approach, he clears 5 cars. Here, look at the pylon. You touch that pylon, you'll be disqualified. He just barely misses it on 2 wheels. Then comes back down the front straight. BEARFOOT at 17.33 seconds on a rough landing will take over the #1 spot.
All right, here comes PIORKOWSKI now with Evil Ford from St. Louis.
PIORKOWSKI is in the top 8 in the World Points Championship despite never having won an event this year, Jerry, but he's had 5 runners-up.
A real heavy machine. Okay, Reed heading for that first turn. Whoa! Oh, I thought he was going to go over.
Well, he drives into the mud pit wall, and that's going to slow him down, obviously. He'll have to back up, realign himself with the cars, and that's going to put him way back in the pack. I'll tell you, it looked like PIORKOWSKI lost his bearings coming off the first set of cars. Didn't even know where that turn was.
It sure did.
Yeah, Yeah, now he realizes that, of course, he's pretty much thrown any chance of qualifying in the top half right out the window, so he'll just idle it around and save the equipment for the first round of competition. You got to hand it to this guy, though. Like I said, without a single victory this year, he still is in the top 8 out of some 60 monster trucks, Jerry, that competed in this Camel U.S. Hobbit Association World Title Series. Look at this thing. Up on 2 wheels, and at that point, he doesn't have any idea where he is.
Wouldn't have taken much more, and he'd have gone right over on his side. Well, here's First Blood. Rob Hughes from Woodstock, Illinois. Rob is a strong competitor.
He has to be physically strong to withstand that kind of landing. He is thrown around in the cockpit, straightens it out beautifully, though. Now, again, he gets a little conservative. Hughes has been in 6 finals this year, including 1 win. He's got his own fan club here tonight, too, there.
A little different driving style. You notice how he kind of hangs out the window a little bit.
Well, the 1989 Rookie of the Year. He is extremely aggressive. There's no question about it. The elapsed time for First Blood, 18.29 seconds. Right in front of his fan club there. Obviously, they are happy with his performance. Here you see, he's about the first one, Jerry, we've seen he's been able to keep all 4 wheels on the ground on those turns.
Good job of driving.
Of course, his launches are legendary.
All right, coming up next, Jack WILLMAN and TAURUS.
Now, it's going to be interesting to see, Jerry, if WILLMAN decides to go for broke or to try and pair up with Barefoot in the very first round, and he's not pushing it.
No, this truck is capable of a lot more than this.
I'll tell you, it takes absolute guts to come out here and run at half throttle just so you can pair up with Barefoot in the first round. He's going to have to run somewhere around 17.7, 17.8 seconds, I think, to qualify number 5 or number 6 where he wants to be. The elapsed time on the run will be coming up shortly. Here you see him lifting that left front wheel around the turn. But again, very, very easy round. And here's the elapsed time, 17.83 seconds. It'll be interesting to see if that lines up against Barefoot.
Well, here's John Pyatt and Bigfoot. Bigfoot's currently in the third in the point standings.
Wow, an aggressive launch for John Pyatt. Of course, vehicle owner Bob Chandler's here tonight. You always got to do well in front of the boss.
Whoa! Boy, these turns are something else.
Hey, he puts it up on the wall of the mud pit and then sideways over the last set of cars. And I'll tell you, that's an interesting way to go around here. It's turning into such a war. Look at this thing with a left front wheel, 3 feet off the ground. The 3 top drivers, certainly John Pyatt, Fred SCHAFER, and of course Jack WILLMAN and TAURUS, they're just going after each other. The elapsed time for Bigfoot ends up being 17.67 seconds, and that'll be good right now for the number 4 spot.
The Eliminator, Jim REIS, coming all the way from Buena Park, California.
Now, REIS has had 4 victories in 11 final round appearances this year. This Chevrolet is strong.
Notice how they got to manipulate those rear wheels in order to make these short turns.
I'll tell you, that's the smoothest run we've seen, Jerry. That thing was just on rails all the way around. The mark to beat was Barefoot at 17.33 seconds. We'll wait for the numbers. Look at how smooth he was, Jerry.
Comes down kind of hard, but he gets it good time, though.
The elapsed time, 17.31 seconds. And by 200ths of a second, the Eliminator is number 1.
AM/PM rocket, Dale BOUCHER.
The youngster from California, who is definitely one of the strongest drivers of the 1990 season, with 1 victory. You saw him on ESPN winning at Worcester, Massachusetts. A little sideways over the back straight. Puts those wheels up as is almost par for the course now and heads to the front straight.
Good job of driving.
Yeah, heck of a strong finish on the last run. The elapsed time for the Rocket Chevy, 17.72 seconds. That'll give him the number 5 spot as he lifts the left front wheel, sets it down, and plants the throttle. Strong young driver. Now, the question is, did they pair up? It'll be Eliminator and Jim REIS against the AM/PM Rocket of Dale BOUCHER, 4-wheel crazy Rob Morris in the Ford from Texas against First Blood. And there it is, Jerry. Barefoot and TAURUS pair in the first round in a battle for the World Championship.
Coming up, mud racing to the Grand Slam shootout. Stay with us. And brought to you in part by Kicker. High-performance speakers by Stillwater Design.
And as Tina Kelly, Motorsports' only female event director, sets up the timing lights, we go into super modified mud racing. And folks, this isn't three-time world champ Tom Martin. It's the new driver of the Mud Patrol, Paul SCHAFER, at his first run ever.
Oh, did you see that?
What a way to start a super modified mud racing career. Paul SCHAFER taking over the reins of the three-time world champ's car. Huge power stand and tears the finish line. Paul's at the 80-foot mark right off in the fuel inject. I like the hands in the air there. The fuel-injected nitrous machine at 1.94 seconds will be disqualified Tom Marsh out of Ohio in the intruder.
Oh, and he has a problem.
And you can see, Jerry, just before that machine stopped, it looked like either the transmission or the front drive wheels weren't getting power. Watch the front wheels as he leaves the line. Yeah, they just stopped dead. That was a transmission problem. Tough break for the Ohioan. 80-foot distance here, Jerry, with Ken Crum out of Kansas City and the Wild Thing. This is always an outrageous piece.
It is rear-engine dragster type, Wild Thing. Oh, good launch.
Man, we've got a fast pit. Now, it looked like the engine shut down just before the finish line. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Look at the left front wheel and right front wheel, for that matter, up in the air. He tries to steer it away from the outer boundary. Then he's looking around, wondering why the engine shut off. That may have been a kill switch problem. We'll have to wait from the word from Tina Kelly, our event director, to find out whether or not he will receive a rerun.
Here's the instant T, Chad Miller. Uh-oh.
Now, that's a clutch problem there, Jerry. That's a clutch going away before he ever leaves the line.
Spectacular run. All right, Chad Miller, let's see the time now on Chad. Chad Miller with an unbelievable run. You can see that clutch going away. Still a time of 2:03 on the instant T, Chad Miller.
Jerry, I need to interrupt a minute. We've got Chad Miller down here on the floor, and Chad, by 100th of a second now, you end up second place. And it wasn't like you shut off just before the finish line, about 3 feet. Is that what you had planned?
No, my clutch is having a little problem with it, and it wasn't locking up there at the end of the track, and the motor is really skyrocketing, and I just naturally shut her off early because of that.
But the traction is there.
Oh, yeah, it's a real hooking track.
Well, maybe it'll hold for the shootout. Good luck, guys.
I hope so. Thank you.
Well, here's the fastest machine here this weekend. Jim Weber with the American-made. Jim is from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Earlier turning in a time of 1.72 seconds. Wow! I thought he was going to go out, but he did not. He kept it inbound. Let's take another look now. Jim Weber from Milwaukee comes off the line and drifts over to the left side of the track. Does not hit the finish line. He stays in with a 1.955.
Well, Jim Weber is down here on the sidelines. The Jim, a 195. There's a lot of tire spin out there, but you actually drove it against the brakes down at the finish line. Is that what you wanted to do?
Yes, I did.
Well, it worked because you stopped at plenty of time, but it was under power at the finish line.
It was under power at finish line, and I tried to be conservative to get into out 4 tonight.
I think that 195, the way the starting line is, might hold for the shootout.
I hope so.
We'll see.
Okay, thanks, Brett.
Well, we have received word that the problem on Ken Crum's machine was a kill switch, so he will get another run. Remember, it's 80 feet to start and 80 feet to stop.
Completely sideways, and Ken Crum manages to get it stopped inbound. You know, George, we have not seen a single driver yet come close to that disqualification line. These guys have to stop within 80 feet after going through this 80-foot mud pit. But right now, it seems like the biggest chore is just getting to the finish line.
That's true, but look how wet that finish line is getting.
Yeah, it's very, very wet. You're right. Here's a team that's had more problems than probably any other this year, but they're still ranked in the top 8 in the World Championship. Ron Smith from Michigan in the supercharged 1948 Fiat.
Great run. And he gets it stopped.
That's the first driver we've seen go very far into the shutdown area, but this is always a wild ride. Supercharged, fuel-injected Chevrolet and a Fiat Topolino. Rough ride, 2.12 seconds. And also, Jerry, we haven't seen anybody yet come near that new national lap time record of 1.72 seconds set during preliminaries by the American-made entry.
Well, here's a crowd favorite. Michigan Off-Road, Mark Wakeroth in a Ford Thunderbird. Wow! And he just about hits the disqualification line. Look how close that is. All right, here's the rerun now. Mark Waitrose, a great run. He slides. Can he stop? Oh, is that close? Look how close. 4 inches from the mark. 4 inches from the mark. Mark Waitrose gets it stopped, and he does not get disqualified. Brooks got him down on the floor.
Down here with us is Mark Waitrose. You pulled that one perfectly, buddy. 193. That's number 1, and you stopped it within 3 inches down here.
Trying our best, man. Just getting at it.
That was as close as it's going to get. Is that 193 going to hold up against Martin?
Yeah, I think it will.
We'll see.
Yep, we'll be back.
Got the Ford number 1, though. Tom Martin is on the line, Jerry, the brand new Super Trooper. This is the 3-time world champion, the man who already wrapped up this year's world title.
Tom Martin, or the Super Trooper, brand new machine, very similar to the Mud Patrol that he won the 1990 championship in. Let's take a look now. There's the Super Trooper, pulls to the line. Remember now, that finish line is getting very, very wet. It's going to be very difficult to stop this high-powered machine. Let's take a look now as Tom Martin rolls to the line, rolls into the staging lights. Good shot there as Tom Martin readies himself to launch off the line. Good run. Oh! It looks like he's going to be disqualified. Looks like he hit that line. Chris Wallace officiating at the finish line. Says it's a little bit too close. Let's take another look now. Tom Martin comes off the line. A good straight run. Trying to avoid those ruts in there. Walks up the brakes, slides it, and just barely hits the disqualification line. Brett, can you get a word from him?
Well, Tom, it's a tough enough break for not only you, but also Paul Schaefer, your new driver. You go out by 4 inches, and he goes into a wheel stand.
Yeah, it's a tough break, but you know these cars are fast, and we're going to be tough next year.
By the way, the car went 193. It would have been good enough for number 1.
Yeah, that makes it worse, but hey, this is a test run for us this weekend, and you know we're going to be there for next year.
We'll see you next year, guy.
Tom Martin, 1990 World Points Champion. Well, coming up next, the Mystic Warriors, Preston Ward. Rolling to the line. Strong running machine. Preston Ward, looks like he shut it off just a tad early.
Well, actually, Jerry, I think we saw some steam off the exhaust headers there, but I think we also saw some engine smoke. You got to remember, this Pennsylvania team is the highest-ranked Ford-powered machine in the sport. They were coming into this event, I believe, in the number 3 position, and they did burn a piston with their nitrous oxide system in preliminaries and qualifying for this event. Preston was worried about that.
The Insanity, Jeff Ecker.
It's a brand new machine for Jeff Ecker, 1927 T altered, and with a supercharged Chevy, it will be strong, I guarantee you.
Good launch. Oh!
Just barely goes out. Wasn't by much. I'll tell you, the Milwaukee driver has had some strong machines. He had one of the very first supercharged entries in this sport, but a slippery starting line slows him to a 216, and an even slipperier shutdown area puts him out. He won't qualify for the top 4. Jerry, coming up, a one-run battle for the World Championship in Monster Trucks.
Monster Truck Racing, round 1. Stay with us.
Jerry, this is the first time we've seen this circular course used where both trucks will line up facing each other. It's one lap around the course with a common finish line counterclockwise. Rob Morris and the 4-Wheel Crazy, by the way, we just received word that the Camel people have awarded him Rookie of the Year honors for 1990, and deservedly so.
All right, a good even start. You notice how they are both running the course at the same time with a common finish line.
Finish line is right there, right in the middle of the crush cars. They are halfway through. It's one lap. Now they come around the last turn and they race to the finish line head on. Who's it gonna be? Oh, man, that was too close to go. What a race.
Very close.
Wait a minute. It looked like Rob Morris may have had brake problems. I think he hit the wall, Jerry.
Let's take another look.
Whoa,
man! Boy, did he hit that.
You could just barely see that at the end of the course. This is another angle. as he lands after the finish line. We still haven't determined an official winner yet. Blam, man, he hits that wall. And we just got word he was the winner in that round, so he's got his work cut out for him.
Oh, I don't know if he's going to be able to make it back or not. Well, here's Bigfoot, John Pyan. Big blue truck from St. Louis. He'll be going against another St. Louis entry, Ray Perkowski with Evil Force.
Now, Bigfoot, the number 4 qualifier. Perkowski, you remember, had problems in qualifying and finished number 8 in this 8-truck field of qualifying, lining up ever so carefully. The crewman, by the way, with the radio transceiver has a kill switch. He can shut the truck off anytime he wants.
Okay, right now it's an even race. Let's watch him now at the halfway mark. Looks like Bigfoot might have gone a little wide. So did Perkowski.
And Perkowski has problems. Yeah, you can see it looked like the rear wheels actually broke. And Perkowski is up against the berm, the same place he ran into problems in qualifying. And now under rules on this new course, John Pyan must wait for the lane to be cleared to complete his lap. You can see event director Tina Kelly holding him up, saying, all right, we have a block lane. You must hold until we determine the problem. Now watch the rear wheels. I swear I saw that the rear wheels actually were aimed at each other. He goes out of view, but when he comes back in, I'm almost inclined to believe he broke the rear end assembly. Well, they're still okay there. There they go. Yeah, aimed in towards each other in a V. He broke the entire rear end of that truck. And there you see John Pyan finally makes it back around as they got Perkowski off to the side. He will go into the semifinal round, and with the amount of Bigfoot fans here, that's making the crowd happy.
Oh, Brett, look what we got now. TAURUS, Jack Willman. And he'll be facing none other than Fred Schaefer in Barefoot.
Isn't it amazing that we have gone through some 60 events this year, yet the World Championship battle comes down to one run. Now, the way this works, Jack Willman, remember, intentionally qualified against Barefoot to make it in this first round pairing. Barefoot must win this race to automatically become the 1990 Camel World Champion. If Barefoot loses, Jack Willman must go on to win the event in TAURUS for him to win his first World Championship. And Jerry, as we showed, as you showed at the beginning of the show, these guys really do not like each other. This isn't a fake rivalry. There's no love between these two.
That's right. And you know what's more amazing yet is that these two are from the same city in Illinois.
Yeah, a little town of Granite City across the Mississippi River from St. Louis. And for 60 events, they have traveled across the country only to race each other, and they live 3 miles from each other.
They won't even eat in the same restaurant.
It's amazing. It is amazing, the rivalry between these two. And I don't know exactly what's going on here, but it almost looks like we've got the monster truck version of a drag racing burn down here. I don't think either driver wants to be the first to stage up.
Look at here. Jack Willman is climbing out of the truck.
I wonder if he's not having mechanical problems or if he's just trying to play a psychological game here. Sitting on the door, just waiting for Schaefer to line up. And now he's telling Schaefer, get that thing on the line.
Oh, look at the look in his eyes.
I'll tell you what, this is, like I said, this is no joke. This is a serious rivalry, a $50,000 battle. And now he's nodding his head.
Put the mouthpiece in.
Yeah, he's not happy. He doesn't want to play any games.
Oh, if looks could kill.
Yeah, Fred Schaefer is in the same frame of mind. Oh, what a way to end the season. What a way to determine a world champion. Now, Schaefer isn't even staged up yet. He hasn't moved.
All right, here we go. For $50,000. Good even run.
They're dead even going into that first turn. Schaefer goes wide, but so does TAURUS. Schaefer sideways, loses a lot of ground, but Willman comes down hard. And they're even again at the last turn. Here they come.
Schaefer goes wide. I think he's into the wall. TAURUS wins. TAURUS wins. All right, now let's take a look at the second half of the race. This is going into the second turn. It looks like Fred Schaefer right here got out of it just a little bit. And this is what cost him the race because Jack Willman stayed in it. Look at this. Jack Willman on his last turn comes on and he hits the pedal, flies over the car, clears over the entire cars. I thought he was going to hit the wall, but he brings it to a stop. Jack Willman with TAURUS takes the win.
You were busy, Jack.
over here plowing into a nosedive on the last jump. Freddie Schaefer drove right into the wall under power over there, and it was side by side. You didn't have an advantage at that point.
No, there was no advantage. It's really slick down here. Of course, a lot slicker than it is at the other end. Of course, I thought, you know, I was going to get the wall, and actually I thought probably I was going to lose the race because of this.
Freddie Schaefer obviously not very happy.
All right, Fred Schaefer going around, finishing the course.
What is going on is that Fred Schaefer is finishing the lap so that he gets a losing place in the first round. He is finishing the lap so that he officially finished the run. All he had to do was cross over his finish line, and he did. He officially crossed over the run there after hitting the wall. Now, like we said, the way it works out officially is if he had beaten you, he would... All right, one more time. Had Barefoot beaten you, he would have won the World Championship outright. Now, you have to win the event. You must go to the final and win. If you get runner-up, you'll lose the World Championship by 1 point. If you win the event, you will win the World Championship by 1 point. And if you didn't hear me already, you've got a certain blue Ford in the next round. You will have to race Bigfoot.
Oh, is that who I got? I didn't know who I have, but you know, I got the first 2 steps. I had to qualify so I could beat him, and then I had to put him away. We got through them 2, now we'll worry about the next 2 steps. You know, all I can do is just try and hope.
Even though that was the toughest battle, like I said, this is far from over, Guy. It's still a war.
Oh, that's right. And, you know, these 2 trucks that I got to come up against, you know, they're running awful good.
It's going to be incredible. Good luck, and congratulations on getting over that hurdle.
Thank you.
Final heat of the first round coming up. It's the Eliminator with Jim Reis from Buena Park, California, going against the AMPM rocket Dale Boucher. A good even start between the 2 trucks coming around the first turn.
And remember, the Eliminator was your #1 qualifier, so he's got the power, but it looks like Boucher has the advantage, Jerry.
It's close. It's going to be close at the finish line. He goes wide. Whoa!
It looks like he spun out. Here comes Reis going into his last turn. There's the rocket up into the mud pit. And again, we've got a situation where the event director, Tina Kelly, will hold up the Eliminator, while Dale Boucher, boy, he's all crossed up. He's not anywhere right.
Well, Dale Boucher looks like he's going to pull right back out into the pit area and let Jim Reis finish his course.
Now, that's sportsmanship, I'll tell you, because he could have actually turned that into a restart with only a couple of feet to go. But, boy, you can see the rear tires just broke loose. He spun around. Now, watch. I'm sure Reis looked over to see him sitting over there. Now, right about there is where he sees and locks up the brakes, sees that the rocket is blocking his lane, and Jim Reis will be automatically given an advancement into the next round. What a wild, wild round. Now, wait a minute. We've just received word that Rob Morris and 4-Wheel Crazy will not be able to return, and because he was #2 qualifier, Barefoot will get back in the program for the next round, Jerry.
Well, you can better believe that Jack Willman is going to be upset with that. Stay with us as we go into the semifinals of Monster Trucks.
We're back at the Rosemont Horizon in Chicago, Illinois for the U.S. Hobbit Association 1990 points final. And Jerry, it's kind of appropriate that at this event, certainly the wildest monster truck race in the 16-year history of this class, that we would have the 2 machines that were the first ever built for this type of motorsports, Bigfoot and Barefoot. It's neat.
As well as the founders of indoor motorsports and the United States Hot Rod Association, Ed Thayer and Tony Vaccaro are here.
It's true. They were the people that brought this kind of sport to the masses from coast to coast across the United States and Canada. Here's a unique situation. Barefoot is back in the program because Rookie of the Year Rob Morris and the 4-Wheel Crazy could not return. He's against Jim Reis in the Eliminator. This has changed the whole deal.
Jim Reis, a strong competitor. And it looks like Jim Reis might have a problem here.
Yeah, definitely. And Fred Schaefer also having traction problems. In fact, Jim Reis was able to make up a lot of the time that he lost there. Look at Schaefer. He's really gone conservative here. And the Eliminator beats him.
Unbelievable.
Now, to see Fred Schaefer go from absolutely full throttle to that kind of conservatism, you have to wonder if this course isn't getting that tricky for the higher horsepower trucks. Look at Schaefer. He's not even that far in the air. And going into the turn, the same thing you brought up earlier about his conservatism costing him the race with Taurus. Looks like it's doing the same thing here. And Jim Reis has had nothing but transmission problems this weekend, yet he managed to get all the way around there, and you can see him very aggressive there in the final jump. The Eliminator goes to the final round. What an upset, but boy, that opens the door for Taurus and Jack Willman again, Jerry.
It certainly does. Jim Reis, a strong competitor throughout the entire season, and he stays in the program. Well, here's Bigfoot, John Pyatt.
Jack Willman has had the roughest road of anybody here at this event. First round, he takes on the points leader, Barefoot. Now, in order to win that $50,000 Camel World Championship, he's got to get past the best-known truck in the world.
You can see the concentration on Jack Willman's face.
Hey, this is going to be just as much a war as any first-round battle we saw. They leave the line. Look at that! Probably the two best launches we've seen throughout the event. They go into the first turn, a lot of tire spin for Pyatt. He gets sideways.
Still even. Look at this. Dead heat.
Boy, they're dead even. Willman getting real aggressive, going way wide though, trying to straighten it out. Look out, look out! I don't believe my eyes.
Jeff Morgan in the center of the track. It looks like he might have gotten clipped.
I am almost positive that our starter, he's on his feet. He's obviously okay in the center of the mud pit, but you can see the crew's going out to see if he's all right. It certainly looked like he was actually run over by the Taurus Chevy of Jack Willman. That's the scariest situation I've ever seen in this sport.
Unbelievable. Let's take a look at the replay now.
It almost looked like Taurus may have hit Bigfoot as well at the end of that course. The Christmas tree is totally destroyed. There you see Morton telling him to keep racing, telling him to get the track clear and bring out the next pair. That guy's got guts.
The bulb's all missing out of the tree. Here comes Taurus now.
All right, you see that rough landing. That may have caused Willman to lose his bearings completely. That was rough enough to almost knock him out. He is under power. You can see him spinning the tires as he goes around the turn. Then the rear end comes around as the machine is definitely losing traction, but he gets right back in the throttle, and it just doesn't respond to the steering. He's got the wheels cranked, Jerry. Now watch. Look at Morton running out of the way.
There's the bulbs flying out of the tree, and it looks like the tree itself, the metal part of the tree, hit Jeff Morgan in the back.
Let's look at it again. I can't tell if it's the rear tire of Taurus or the Christmas tree pole, as you said, that hits him in the back. I'm almost, boy, oh, that is just incredible. I'm almost inclined to believe that both of them hit him, Jerry. And then he comes over, Willman comes over, and it looks like tags Bigfoot. Pyatt saw him coming and actually got on the brakes, but John Pyatt is awarded the win, and Jeff Morgan, the U.S. Hobbit Association starter, Jerry, should get a medal for actions above and beyond the call of duty on that one.
Well, we have preliminary reports that Jeff is okay.
Yeah, he was back on his feet almost immediately, and he is going to apparently stay with us. The paramedics, as we've been watching the replay, have been checking him out, and they say he wants to stay. He looks okay to us, but what a wild, wild incident. There you see Bob Chandler, the owner and the man who created the monster truck phenomenon, with Bigfoot out of St. Louis, Missouri, waving to the crowd. He'll be in the final round. We've got more mud racing as well coming up, including the shootout. Stay with us.
We're back at the Rosemont Horizon in Chicago. Here's Let's Boogie, Tony Fiorai.
This is the brand new supercharged street roadster of Steve DeLue out of Michigan, and it is a killer.
Good run, can he get it stopped? And he does.
A lot of steam off the exhaust headers, and Jerry, that just brings up the fact that you pointed out earlier. There's a lot of water still down at that finish line as it hits the hot exhaust headers. 2.12 seconds. Believe it or not, the mark to beat was 2.123. Fierro goes 2.126, and by 0.03 of a second will not get in the quick four.
Ground zero coming up next.
Jeff Sturken, number 2 in the world last year. He was runner-up to Tom Martin in the World Championship a year ago.
Good run.
Oh, just goes out. That was a matter of 6 inches. And Sturgeon will be disqualified. And you know what's amazing about that, Jerry? The finish line is so slippery. Watch the front wheels. It looks like Sturgeon shut off before the finish line. Well, then again, maybe he didn't. 2.121. That would have been good enough to get in the field, but he's disqualified by 6 inches, just tapping that disqualification banner 80 feet past the finish line.
Unbelievable. Well, coming up next, BYRON, TINKEY, and Bad Habit.
Now, it looked to me, Jerry, like BYRON was worried. He saw everybody else getting real close to that finish, or to the disqualification line. He actually did shut the engine off early. Watch the front tires as he approaches the 80 foot. Yeah, he was out of it. And at 2:14, had he stayed in the throttle, I guarantee you he'd have picked up the 300ths of a second he needed to get in.
That's a strong running machine. All right, coming up next, Red Heat, Melvin Brown.
Melvin Brown always in the top 10 with his not one but 2 machines at each event.
Good run.
It looked again like Melvin Brown got out of the throttle before the finish line. These guys are really scared of that slippery shutdown area. The rear engine injected nitrous oxide Chevy powered dragster. Boy, he's getting thrown around in there. 2:27 will not qualify. Remember that it takes a 2:12 or better, actually 2.123 seconds to get in. Here's the guy, Jerry, that was just voted by the Camel people the Rookie of the Year for 1990 in the Super Modified Mud ranks. Jody Kelly out of North Carolina with his supercharged T-Roadster.
Let's see what Jody can do now.
That was one of the strangest runs I've ever seen. It looked at about the 60-foot mark like the rear end was 4 feet in the air there. Yeah, it was. 2.149 seconds, and he shut off way before the finish line. That car's running the low 180s. Here's an interesting young man out of the state of Iowa. This is Rick Holmes in the Wild Cherry machine. It is a very unusual piece, a fuel-injected Ford with nitrous oxide, Jerry.
Rear engine power.
Yeah, it was. Considering the amount of tire spin, Holmes did an excellent job. And this young man is coming on strong. He is probably going to be one of the toughest runners in 1991. He got invited to this event solely on his ability this year. The 282 does not even come close to showing you how strong that car is. I know his father would be proud of that one, Jerry.
Well, the ruts in the track are really getting severe. Here's the Blue Max, Melvin Brown's second entry. Oh, he shut off way early.
Well, yeah, he definitely shut it off before the finish line. I'm inclined to believe that the transmission was going away there. Melvin is one of the few drivers that takes advantage of the U.S. Hobbit Association rule that allows a driver to compete with 2 different machines. I'm inclined to believe that that performance will allow BYRON TINKEY's Bad Habit to take over the number 8 spot that car occupied coming into this event. So that'll set up the Grand Slam shootout with the Team Rancho Michigan Off-Road Thunderbird of Mark Watros, number 1 at 193, followed by the new national record holder, Jim Weber, the American made at 195, the Instant T and Gold Fever entries rounding up the top 4, and it's going to be wild, Jerry.
Coming up, the finals in the Super Modified Mud and the Monster Machine. Stay with us.
We're back at the Rosemont Horizon in Chicago, Illinois for the Camel Shootout. Miss Camel, Elizabeth Williams, shaking hands with the crowds. And here's the first driver up in this shootout program, Jerry. Chad Miller in the Instant T. You saw him put down an excellent run earlier of 2.11 seconds. This kid's had a rough year. We already saw several major crashes.
Yeah, that's right. The Instant T, wild run. We've seen it a couple of times. And this is the first of the Fast 4 now. Let's take a look and watch him make his pass.
Supercharged Big Block Chevrolet.
Good run.
On the brakes. Oh, into the wall. That's a pretty obvious disqualification there, Jer.
He hit the wall pretty good.
I'll tell you, this is one of the few times we always see a slippery starting line during the shootout. You'll see slower elapsed times than we saw in the first round, but I don't think we've ever seen a shutdown area this slippery. It's really playing havoc for these guys. 2.12 seconds, very consistent, but man, he slams the wall. And the officials instantaneously showing it's history.
Well, here's Michigan Off-Road, Mark Waitress, a favorite of the crowd here. A Thunderbird, funny car. Good run. And Mark Waitress gets it stopped. He was going to make sure that he was not going to slide out of bounds in the final run. He climbs out of the car. He's real happy, and the crowd loves this machine. Team Rancho on a Ford-powered machine. He turns a 210. Now let's take a look at the rerun on this.
really screaming through the mud pit. He locks up the brakes. He wants to make sure he does not go over that DQ line. A great run, 2.10 seconds for Michigan Off-Road. Brett, can you get a word with him?
And as Mark comes up through the hatch, we've seen some Chevrolets do some damage tonight, but Ford Power won it this time. The supercharged Team Rancho machine 2:10 was the elapsed time, and it didn't take as much as you thought it was gonna.
Well, we just want to take it easy, you know, make sure we made a full run when you see everybody DQ, so we just want to make a win.
As close as it was to a disqualification on the first run, it looked like you shut it off and got on the brakes hard.
Exactly.
Can you tell there's some Ford people out here? Obviously, they're cheering for you.
Look out for 91.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the National Points Final, Mark Watros and the Team Rancho Ford Thunderbird.
And Jerry, I should add that Ron Smith in the Gold Fever, although he couldn't run, finishes 6th in the world, and Jim Weber ends up 2nd in the world with a new world ET record.
Well, here's the finals in the monster trucks. Bigfoot, John Pyatt going to go against Jim Reese in the Ecology Eliminator.
You know, we had so many people say they came here to see Bigfoot win, but Jim Reese just might be the spoiler for the Chevy fans here in this final. We've already seen the World Championship wrapped up by Barefoot and Fred Schaefer, but now we've got the event title to determine with the machine that started it all against one of the new young lions.
Well, the crowd here at the Rosemont Horizon will love this one because it's a Ford Chevy battle.
Bob Chandler, the creator of Bigfoot and monster trucks in general, for that matter, looking on. As we pointed out, the U.S. Hobbit Association officials, the hierarchy that brought indoor motorsports to the United States 16 years ago. Looking on at the finals of the wildest monster truck race ever run.
Jim Reese has to hold his truck together for just one more run. Here we go. Uh-oh.
It looks like Reese is in big trouble. Pyatt is coming around the first turn, and Reese can't even get over the cars. Jerry Bigfoot is going to win this one on a free ride.
Jim Reese having some unfortunate transmission problems that just faded away at the last moment.
You know, he survived that transmission problem through qualifying, through 2 rounds of elimination. The transmission was falling in and out of gear in the first 2 rounds, and now there's not even enough fluid left in that transmission case to get the thing off the cars. And John Pyatt sitting in Bigfoot has got to be elated. He's just got to be thrilled.
Well, now it looks like Jim Reese has got steering problems on top of it.
Yeah, there was something radically wrong with that truck, and you can see the dejection. You just can imagine how Jim Reese feels coming all the way from Los Angeles to Chicago only to make it to the final and then have this happen. But I don't think the crowd is disappointed.
There's our winner, John Pyatt and Bigfoot. And the crowd loves it.
Well, John, you've got to be thrilled with this victory, but you have to admit the second round against Taurus was an extremely bizarre situation.
Yeah, it definitely was. You know, everyone involved is really lucky that everyone come out okay, and it's just one of the weird things that happens. It's the first time I've ever seen anything like that.
I should point out, though, that your driving all night long was right there with the best of them. You did have some of the quickest times throughout eliminations, and it looked like you were the one that was able to handle a very, very slippery track.
Yeah, I feel like I drove kind of poorly, actually, but just trying to be consistent and just keep the truck pointed in the right direction as it was a key for the win.
Well, after the first round, it was not a horsepower track, it was a driver's track, and you ended up being the driver, buddy.
All right, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner tonight, the 1990 National Points Final, John Pyatt and Bigfoot. At the end of
45 events of the 1990 Camel U.S. Off-Road Association season, Tom Martin has ended it on a winning note to become the first man ever to win this series.
3 years in a row, and Tom, even though you were disqualified tonight, I know you're very happy with the new car.
Oh, I'm real happy. We had one of the fastest runs here tonight, and the stopping line was a little greasy, but that car's going to be fast all year, you know it.
Now that you've done it 3 consecutive times, which is something nobody had ever done it twice, let alone 3, what are you looking for? What do you want to achieve in this sport?
Well, I want to go out there and win more races than anyone's ever won, and that's my goal.
And you're right there with that right now. In fact, the U.S. Off-Road Association results of this event will probably prove that you've won more races in 3 years than anybody else. Jeff Hope and Miss Winston, Elizabeth Williams, are bringing over the check right now. winner's share of the 1990 U.S. Auburn Association Camel World Championship. And that obviously is what makes it all worth it.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is going to help out the old racing budget, and this is going to make things a little easier for us.
And certainly Camel's involvement has changed the face of this sport, I would imagine.
That's right. You know, Camel comes in with RJ Reynolds and with the Hot Rod Association. This is the best series we've ever had, and I know it's going to get better and bigger, and it's going to be great in 1991.
Well, indeed, as the reigning champion, congratulations, and this is the man who will reign as the killer through the 1991 season and beyond. And as the photographers get their shots, we will bring in Fred Schaefer. Fred, come on over here. You're next. In one of the most bizarre sets of circumstances we have ever seen, in one of the most violent wars we have ever seen, there is finally a winner, and it is Fred Schaefer in the Barefoot Chevrolet. And Fred, even you could not have possibly imagined that it would have gotten this weird.
I could never believe it would turn out like it turned out, really.
It just took a matter of luck when Rob Morris crashed to get you back in, and that wrapped it up.
That did it. When the fastest loser came back in my qualifying time, that's what wrapped it up.
Well, at the beginning of the event, you had said that if qualifying was going to play just as an important role as eliminations would, and you were right on.
I went for the fast qualifier, and I always do, and it paid off.
It sure did. And standing next to us, Jeff Hope and Elizabeth Williams, Miss Camel again, bringing out your check. This one for $15,000, the largest winner's purse ever for a monster truck event or event series, and that has to make it worth it for you.
Thank you very much, Brett. It's been a long, hard battle. I'm glad it's finally over. Thank you.
In a point series in which the lead changed multiple.
As we take a look at some of the most spectacular racing in 1990, here's the way the point standings finished up.
Although this may end the 1990 U.S. Auburn Association Camel World Championship Tour, obviously with the action we've seen here tonight, Jerry, 1991 is going to be insane.
Oh, it's going to be unbelievable. They're going to scream through the mud pit. You know, these drivers the technology is advancing every day, and these drivers are thinking of new ways of developing even more horsepower. Is it possible? We're going to find out in 1991.
It's going to be incredible. You can bet on wilder monster truck battles. You can bet on quicker and faster and more outrageous super modified mud racers. But one thing's for sure, ESPN there will be there to cover it with the U.S. Auburn Association Camel Tour in full swing starting in January. Hopefully you can be with us then. On behalf of myself, Brett Kepner, and Jerry Devine, thanks for being with us throughout the 1990 season, and we'll see you at the start of an even bigger and better 1991.